Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. I am so excited to be here with these incredible panelists. And today we're going to be speaking on mentorship and breaking in, moving up, and leading forward, and what a powerful thing that is, and what mentorship does for us in those moments when we're anxious to get into that space. So if you haven't met me before, I'm Dr. Myra Austin. I'm the CEO and founder of Management Cues, a neuroscience-backed management training program company that facilitates scientifically proven ways of leveling up. And mentorship happens to be one of those things that is critical to what we do. And we've seen reliable, substantial results even in this changing climate. So it is absolutely my distinct pleasure to sit here and moderate for this amazing panel for today's conversation. So let's just start by setting the stage and naming the reality of how difficult and challenging the market has become at this time. I mean, think about it. We have technology, we have AI, we have shifting demands, we have learning that's changing, we have automation bias. We're relying on technology in different ways. And defining our human edge, our unique contribution, has really become our new challenge. And so as we continue to explore that, we need to definitely acknowledge that we don't talk enough about what it's doing to us as human beings. And at least from a neuroscience perspective, what we're seeing is that prolonged uncertainty in climates that are shifting and are changing actually activate our threat detection system as human beings. And so what's interesting about that is that mentorship can counteract that and allow us to have clarity, make better decisions. And ultimately those things are what help us move up faster, right? Get there sooner and feel confident around whether all our effort is paying off. And at least for me, I can remember earlier in my career the pressure that I felt to try to get somewhere, even if that somewhere wasn't fully defined for me. So as we step into this, I just want to say that strong management creates structure and clear expectations, feedback loops, and accountability. And that actually helps us expand our capacity into leadership. It reframes our challenges, our growth, and activates that prefrontal cortex that's allowing us to make better decisions. And mentorship is embedded in throughout that experience as that is happening. The right relationships don't just advance careers, and this panel will share just how that happens, but they reveal them. Mentorship allows us to see ourselves through the eyes of somebody else, and I can at least say that for the relationships I've had with mentorship, they saw something in me that I had not yet seen. And that is such a powerful way to build resilience and a way to expand on the professional capacity that's residing within you that you might not yet see. And that is the differentiator. So I'm honored, so deeply honored, and so excited. I've been waiting for months to get these folks together for you. Honored to introduce them and hear their lived experiences and what leadership looks like in the real world in action. So let me start by introducing Dr. Brittany Kempink, CFO of Meraki Business Consulting and Dissertation Faculty at Westcliff University. Dr. K, as I call her, Dr. K has built remarkable momentum creating community and shaping professional development for students and emerging leaders. And I just love to watch her in action. I call her such a bright light out there. Dr. K, I am honored to have you here today.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Austin, for having me. It's been months that I've wanted to collaborate with you, and I think this is the perfect time. Just a little bit about myself. I think you've said everything. I've just been working in higher education for the past 10 years. Love it. We shared the same school. We both work at Westcliff University, which is an amazing place to foster mentorship and just great community. Just piggybacking off of what you said about mentorship and in an AI world, it's definitely one of those soft skills that AI cannot really replicate. So I really do understand the relevancy in mentorship, and it's great to be here.
Thank you, thank you. And next up is Jose Benitez, Program Manager for EXP, the Opportunity Engine, emphasis on Opportunity Engine. He's actually done some amazing work. So at EXP, he designs and leads career connected learning experiences for high school students. And his work has been completely impactful. And I can't tell you what amazing conversations we've had about getting started early with mentorship. He also serves on the board of Speak Your Truth Today and ALPFA, so he's very busy, and is the cohort representative for the UCI Flex MBA program. Jose is incredibly and very deeply committed to making that breakthrough opportunity for these underserviced communities that he creates pathways for. So Jose, it is an honor and a pleasure always to connect with you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Dr. Myros, and looking forward to having this conversation with everybody here.
Yes, me too. Juhi Nandwani is up next, and she is an e-commerce associate director at Direct Agents and a very accomplished digital strategist, a brilliant, bright mind that I had the privilege and honor to meet. And she is also using AI to drive omni-channel growth across platforms like Amazon, Walmart, and Target. She's definitely in the know. And Juhi specializes in AI-driven insights and performance strategy while navigating her own doctoral journey and leadership development. So Juhi for me stands out in many ways, and it's a pleasure to have you, Juhi, for you to kind of share your in-the-moment journey as you're navigating some big career moves.
I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Austin. Mentorship has been one of the biggest anchors for me as I navigate my own journeys, and I'm excited to be here to talk about it today.
Thank you. And I'm sure the audience will appreciate all of these different perspectives in different stages of career, but also with different lived experiences around mentorship and what it's done for them. So let's go ahead. Let's kick it off. Let's get real, right? This is what Management Cues is all about, is getting tactical, getting our hands dirty, and listening to real stories, because the human experience is our new relationship currency in this AI technological driven world. It's really where we're going to carve out our differentiators. So I'm going to start with Jose. I'm going to hit him first. So Jose, through your work, you get to see people who are starting to realize who they are starting to get curious, right? Our high school population. And it calls to me personally, because I can remember who I was as a high school student. Very unrealized. I had no idea what my purpose looked like, and I didn't have enough mentorship. So here's the question for you as you think about your experience with them and maybe your own personal experience. Through your work with these emerging professionals, how do you feel mentorship has shaped their ability to break in and actually navigate workforce?
Yeah, so I guess I have a little bit of an opposite view in that sense where I don't think I can remember myself as a high school student. I think the person that I am now and the person that I was before is just two vastly different people. And I think mentorship and guidance has been a huge part of that. I think mentorship is at the core of what we do at EXP, allowing young people to kind of explore and expand the different opportunities that are available to them. And we do that in a variety of different ways. One way that we do that is through our career readiness certificate, which preps the students with resume, cover letter writing, and really a lot of leadership skills to be able to then be placed in our paid summer internships. I think what separates us, and I think what from a lot of other organizations, is that we do keep that mentorship at the core of everything that we do. And so, it's not just going in there and let's fix your resume, let's fix your cover letter. It's let's figure out who's in the room, let's figure out what we can do to help you, and let's figure out who you are as students, right? You're kind of navigating those very hard times as you're getting ready to go into college. And so I think that we're finding that through our mentorship programs, there's just been a lot of success that we've been seeing because, again, first and foremost, we tackle the issues at home, right? Everything that's going on just kind of around our communities. We want to make sure that we put those issues at the forefront because at the end of the day, we're dealing with people.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what we do also at Alpha is understanding that we're dealing with people, we're dealing with students who have real lives, who have real challenges that they're dealing with, and also understand or trying to find ways to understand how we can best navigate their situations and help them. And so, as we're kind of the second part of what we do is working with companies to see, who it is that's willing and able to give our students the opportunity to then be placed in these internships and give them some more guidance. We're also trying to figure out, who understands that message and who
Yeah.
who embodies that message because, you know, the high school population is a very sensitive population in the sense that they're still learning so much about themselves. And so we want to make sure that where they're being placed, they're going to have those opportunities to understand, explore, make mistakes, right? And
Yeah.
to be able to learn. And so, again, mentorship is at the heart of that. On the
Yeah.
other hand, too, we also find that many of our host sites, one of the many joys that they get from having a high school intern is being able to also connect with the upcoming Gen Z population that's entering the workforce. So many times we hear, complaints from, and myself included, and a lot of other people that I speak to about this, that we just don't understand Gen Z, right? We don't understand their language, we don't understand the way they communicate. Oh, Gen Z, they're not hardworking. All these things that we hear, and I think that's false, right? Because I
Yeah.
work with these students every single day, and I know that they have so much to bring to the table, and they understand that about themselves. They're very technically gifted. This population has grown up with AI, right? Much
Yeah.
like my generation grew up with the internet, right? We were navigating the early internet.
And
This
mine didn't
generation,
have it.
yeah,
That's how old I am, right?
and this population, AI is their bread and butter. It's what they do.
Yeah.
Um, but we also have to see and be realistic about where it is that they're lacking. A lot of that is the soft skills. And
Yeah.
so, we're looking for employers and we're looking within ourselves to see how do we help them improve their soft skills. I mean, I think,
Yeah.
again, mentorship is at the very core of that because mentorship gets to, hey, let's understand each other as people before we even talk about, work or before we even talk about anything else that you can contribute to this company. Let's get to know each other as people because, again, at the end of the day, we're all just people, right?
Yeah.
Students, adults, people that have been working in their industries for 20 plus years. And we all just want to connect with each other.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I think is important to highlight about what Jose is sharing, I've been able to witness it. I've been able to actually go to the events, and engage with some of the host companies who are opening paths for these young people. And what I found really amazing and kind of got my heart all kinds of warm and fuzzies around EXP, which I now like to collaborate on an ongoing basis with, is they really do look at whether the student is going to be a good fit for the company, whether they have good interests, and they're careful with how they select their hosts. Like the host has to be open to that mentorship, to that connection, to giving them a viable opportunity to learn. And one of the really cool things that Jose and I had coffee and talked about was how cool would it be to create a neuroscience STEM like opportunity for somebody who wouldn't otherwise be exposed through it through management cues, right? And that's just an example, but there's so much depth behind what he's saying and how they do it. I think it's amazing. To his point, he doesn't remember what he used to be like when he was in high school. And it's because he's gone through all of these different journeys towards growth, right? Thank you, Jose. Let me go ahead and move on, and then I'll bounce back to you. So let me bounce then down to Juhi. So you're a doctoral student. You're in the business world. You've got the technology piece, AI. You're working in that space. What would you say the role of mentorship has been and for you in terms of influencing your growth or your strategic moves or how to show up?
Yeah, so for me, mentorship hasn't always been like a formal, structured thing. A lot of it actually came through conversations, feedback, wanting this feedback, and really observing how leaders think and make decisions in high pressure environments. I feel like everyone is working in a high pressure environment. The challenge is there to be super accomplished. The challenge is there to 10x your goal. In this competitive landscape, we're all just constantly working under pressure. As a doctoral student, stepping into leadership at the same time, there's a lot of internal pressure as well for me to prove myself, especially in this competitive world where everyone is super accomplished on paper. Resumes these days never fail, especially when you have AI to help you brush it up and really stand out in a crowd. I think the one key role mentorship played in my life is to help me shift my own mindset. I was constantly questioning, am I ready? Am I ready to take the next step? Am I ready to take the next leap? Focus on how I'm growing. And instead of trying to stand out by doing everything on my own, I was learning to ask better questions and to seek more perspectives from professionals like yourselves and make more thoughtful decisions instead of just making reactive decisions. Taking the time to really understand that one decision can change the trajectory of your career. That alone helped me improve my confidence. So being able to have access to that feedback, different perspectives, even similar journeys that professionals have gone through where they were able to guide me because they knew exactly what I was talking about really helped me improve my confidence. It made me realize leaders aren't the ones who know everything. They are the ones who are open to this kind of guidance, open to this reflection, this continuous learning. And that mindset alone really helped me make decisions with more clarity and less self doubt.
Yeah, phenomenal. And let me share this about Juhi. I met her at a professional weekend that Westcliff holds, the many workshops, and I can tell you that I could feel the courage bouncing off of her. So there's a few things that you said that were really important about capturing that mentorship moment, finding the right mentor, which I'll have Dr. K highlight some areas around that, around with the experiences she's had. And Juhi, for others that might be listening or watching, like, how do you decide it's the right moment to take that courageous step and ask somebody to be your mentor, or that's the person you want to get answers from? Like, what goes on in your head? Share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I think the biggest mindset shift is to realize like these invitations are rarely explicit. Um, there are a lot of mentors out there who won't be bouncing around coming to you like, "Can I be your mentor? Can I be your mentor?" It's more like it's not always a formal program or a scheduled session, right? A lot of time it shows up quietly when you realize that you're getting feedback from a manager or advice from a professor or casual conversations from someone more experienced that is influencing the way you think and is being super helpful for you. That is when it is the key step to not be afraid to reach out, ask more questions, and stay curious, right? So a lot of mentorship doesn't have to be a formal labeled mentorship opportunity, though it can be. I do have my own mentors that are that I've formally asked the question like, "Will you be my mentor?" But it can also come in bits and pieces throughout your day and throughout your career as you find feedback that is helpful for you. For me, this growth happened when I stopped waiting for these formal structures. I started just engaging with people that I respected in a very genuine way, quick check ins, questions about their journey, or asking for perspective. All of that opened doors for me. And mentorship is often built through this consistency and openness, not really formal titles. So that's what I would advise people who are listening right now. Don't be afraid to take that leap. If there is someone you admire and look up to, feel free to ask them. A lot of times people want to give back to their communities and they want to guide others to hopefully build off their experiences and, not make same mistakes that they have made before. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's a powerful pay forward moment. I can say that for myself, at least for the people that I choose to mentor. I remember what it was like to want to get there further, faster. And I remember specifically having a professor who sits in the seat that Dr. K and I now sit in as professors. I remember a professor telling me, Myra, if you really want to achieve what you're looking to achieve, you need to find who your 5 core mentors are across different business areas. And I took what he said and I did something with it. And ultimately, I reached almost every single goal that I was looking to achieve within a 10-year span, which was fairly quickly given my journey. So I think that those are the types of moments that Juhi is talking about is don't wait for it to be a formal program. Capture the moment and pay attention. Opportunity does come dressed in overalls, as they say, and it does sometimes look like work and does require a little bit of courage, but it might just be what changes things completely for you in a matter of days. It can be that powerful mentorship. So with that, let me flip it over to Dr. K. So Dr. K has executive leader experience, has a lot of faculty experience, and is now working with students like Juhi in the doctorate program, but she's also creating an amazing energy. So at Westcliff and just I think anywhere she goes, and I know this because I met her off the cuff and just the energy was amazing. So the question for you, Dr. K, is, as an executive leader and a faculty member, what have you learned about creating psychological safe spaces where you see emerging professionals, but you help them feel invited and help them maybe recognize some of the opportunities that Juhi is talking about? Because I think it's important for those of us who have gone through the battle, right, who have worn those black eyes in the process, to also extend that hand and openly share, hey, I'm here if you need me. You let me know, right? What do you got to say about that?
Oh, that's awesome. I want to say that Jose and Jeannie have given so many amazing points. So it's hard to add onto that, but I will try. On the other side, where you have all these brilliant students, I love all of my students in Dallas. If you're here, shout out. I think that, as Junie said, there's a competitiveness, right, in the industries. How can I stand out? How can I get this person that I look up to, in a sense, to guide me in the right direction? For me, one of the biggest things I even have told my students that are interested in becoming professors or maybe even the executive positions is that authenticity is the strongest thing that you can have. That is what builds a lot of my classroom environments, is just be yourself. It's not dog eat dog in my classroom. You can respect each other. You can be positive if you want. You can be negative. Just respect and be authentic, because that has a lot of sustainability and that will give you the edge, because you're going to have not only the brilliance and the education, but you'll also have that little extra something that's real. And as Jeannie said, very genuine.
Yeah, and I think that is the human edge, right? Those are the things that when we look at AI can fill many buckets. But when it comes to negotiating, it's not going to show up for you, right? It's not going to when you need a hug because it's been that hard to compete in the environment, it's not going to step out and give you that hug, right? When you need somebody to tell you exactly where your gaps are because they actually physically know you and you're about to make a big mistake, that's the moment that mentors that are mentors that are for you are going to say, no, you need to buck up, get brave, and make that step forward, because this is a prime opportunity. And it's recognizing those opportunities. And I agree with you, Dr. K. I think that it comes down to authenticity and really understanding how to gauge that moment. And that sounds easy. Saying it sounds easy. It is difficult to not overthink. It is difficult to move past your nervousness and your fear of being inadequate. It is difficult to articulate what you actually bring to the table now when AI fills up 50% of that space. It is difficult, right? So go ahead, Dr. K.
I agree with you. It's difficult to get past that insecurity of what are people going to think of me if I'm my real self. But it's the cheat code. It really is. Once you get past that, I 100% agree. You can, and are authentic, you're able to show up and be the best that you can be. And I will say that A lot of times our mentorship will be unlikely. You know, it might not be the person that you look up to. It could be another professor or someone in the business telling you, hey, I think that you should do this. And there might be pushback, and you look back in retrospect and you're like, this was the best opportunity for me from this specific mentor. But yeah, I agree, 100%.
I mean, I've learned the hard way. It's typically how I like to learn. And I've gotten in my own way. And I think that that's when I've seen kind of that impact of having somebody be a real sounding board. And I mean a real one. Not one that's just there to compliment you and champion you, but to tell you this is a mistake. You need to rethink it. Think about these things. So, one thing that I want to throw out there, a statistic that I thought came from, was interesting and came from personnel psychology research, is that I'm going to read it off here, but individuals who received mentoring earned higher compensation, more promotions, and reported greater career satisfaction than those without mentors. And specifically, they called out that proteges received more promotions and higher total compensation over time compared to non-mentored peers. So I'm going to think about that for a little bit, but I'm going to bounce right back to Jose, because I think the sooner you start with mentorship, the sooner you get there. I know that for me, as soon as I started to encounter mentors that got to know me, the human being, the person, like Jose said, right? Get to know the person first. That's when the changes started to happen. And it happened in the workforce along the way. So my question to you, Jose, is, knowing that you guys have a structured program that you curate, and you really do, EXP curates these amazing experiences that just honestly left me astounded when I first started to learn about them. The degree of intentionality that the group has is admirable. But Jose, when you're seeing these kids and you're thinking of them and all of their potential, because you actually get to work with them and get to know them, and then you think of the host companies out there, what would you say you would ask of a host company? Like, what kind of an approach should they have to these kids outside of getting to know them as people? Like, what would you think they need to get their mindset right around?
I think coming in with an approach or an understanding or a wanting to learn more, and to also be receptive to what the students are the feedback that they're receiving from the students. I don't think there's ever a time where you can start that's too early. I think the earlier that you start, the better. Um, and so I would say that, as Juhi mentioned and as Dr. K mentioned, it's a very competitive market. It's a very competitive market, and it goes both ways. We want to prep our students that the best they can um, to enter the workforce, but it goes both ways in the sense that the host sites also are competing for a lot of talent that's out there. And so how do you stick out, right, as a company, and how do you attract top talent? We're all looking to AI, we're all talking about AI, but the truth is AI is here and it's not going away, but we
Mm-hmm.
still don't know how to use it properly. And we're finding that to be true, even with big IT companies who
Yeah.
had mass layoffs and are now rehiring people because they realize that there's no one that's trained on these machines. And so
Oh, I think we lost Jose, so we'll give him a minute, see if he jumps back on, but it's okay. As he was highlighting the technical gaps, I know that I have seen them in the workshops and the training that I've been doing for AI. And I think his point is a valid one. We've gotten really excited about what it can do. We're not 100% clear what it can't do. And what I have learned as an operations leader, we're definitely not super clear on the consequences that we're supposed to be measuring or what they fully look like. And it's a nature of the beast. A phrase that I use with my students is, realistically, AI is just in the amoeba stage. We're just starting to see what it can do. And so, in terms of mentorship and capturing that human edge in order to really understand how to gain career mobility when you have, algorithms based on making decisions off of keywords, and probably soon enough we'll be interviewing with AI agents for our initial opportunity at a company. I think that that's when mentorship is really going to mean something more, and that relationship capital is going to weigh as much as money in the bank, right? So I think that what Jose was saying is on point. I think that we have to recognize that these gaps are here right now, and that mentorship is going to be an ultimate competitive advantage. So Jose, can you hear me? Are you back?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. So I touched on the technology gap and getting a feel for the consequence. Did you have anything else to add before I jump back to Juhi and then get us ready for a closeout?
No, nothing else on my end except that, I hope that our host sites come in, or what we're looking for is our host sites to be open and receptive, to understanding that there are different challenges that we're facing. However, the only way that we face them is to face them together and to understand what's going on with Gen Z, with every different generation that's coming into the workforce, and then create curated plans to tackle those problems.
Yeah, I agree. So, last question to Juhi, and then I'll go around the room for any key takeaways that you'd like to share with our audience. But Juhi, because you're in the middle of the momentum, right? In terms of our panel here, what would you say would be the first thing that you would recommend to somebody who is looking to make way, to get a promotion, to get the job they want in terms of mentorship? What would be the first step that you would recommend for them?
Yeah. So I'd say the first thing is to pause and really get clear on what you want, right? So a lot of times we don't allow ourselves the space to think clearly. Outside of all the noise, it is really easy for you to think that your work is speaking for yourself, but promotions really come down to how well you can articulate your value, right? Not just how hard you're working. So I would recommend really documenting your wins, the problems you've solved, how you've grown into responsibilities for your next role already, and then looking at that from a higher strategic perspective and framing it less as I want a promotion and more as this is how I'm already operating at the next level. And this is the conversation that makes it feel more natural instead of like a forced career path, like just making a step or getting a step up in your career. It really makes it feel more intentional. Timing matters a lot as well. It's a growth discussion, not a demand. You really need to make sure that when you're in this phase of momentum, the conversation that you're putting forward really shows your leadership, not just your ambition. Ambition is always great, but what impact are you going to make in this in your next role? So taking a step back to really write down and think deeply about what your next move will bring you in terms of value is going to help you drive your promotion forward.
Yeah, and I think you said such important things. And one of the most important things that I'm seeing as I'm seeing things develop and I'm seeing professionals out there compete, and I'm just in this space constantly of curiosity, right? It's part of what gets me into trouble, but it's also what gets me those wins. One thing that I've noticed is part of living in this kind of copy and paste world where information is so readily available and we confuse information with knowledge and experience sometimes because there's so much stimulating us. We forget what it's like to move past generalities or superficiality because we're constantly operating in that space. So to Juhi's point, stop being generic with your own needs in terms of career mobility. Really audit yourself, ask deeper questions from the mentors, ask them to challenge you, open that door. I can remember one single conversation with Juhi, and I won't reveal too much, but she said, give it to me, like, give it to me, be real with me, right? And I
Yes.
gave it to her because it's kind of my staple, right, Dr. K? My standard way of approaching things is keeping it real. So I kept it real, but that is a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to do, to be receptive, to be ready, to really listen to what your gaps might be. Okay, so we're almost at time. So I'm gonna go around the room, and then I'll go ahead and leave the audience with three strong takeaways of what they can do immediately today, tomorrow, immediately. But just going around the room, if you could give somebody the gift of what mentorship felt like for you when you either received it or gave it, what would that sound like, right? So let me go around the room. Dr. K, I'll start with you.
So the question is, what does mentor sound like, either from a mentor's perspective or mentees? Um, it's really just taking an interest in someone's advancement and then either showing them the way to the opportunity or opening that door for them. Being future focused, knowing what's ahead for them, and kind of giving them that guidance. That would be my brief definition, but it could be so many different things, and it takes
Yeah.
so many different forms as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Jose, what about you?
For me, I'd say really sitting down with somebody and letting them know that it's okay, right? No matter what happens, it's going to be okay. Whether it be technical issues online, whether it be just trying a career path, not liking it and wanting to do something new when you're 18, 25, 30, 35. It's going to be okay. And I think for me, it's really just, again, getting to the core of who people are, what they want, which we ultimately all want the same,
Yeah.
almost the same things. Um, and then trying to uplift somebody and get them to that next stage in their life.
Yeah. I'm the power of feeling like it's going to be okay. That saves lives, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It
I
does.
agree.
It's that powerful. Juhi, what about you?
For me, mentorship, when you receive it, feels like relief. More than anything, it makes you feel like you're not alone. Someone is seeing your potential, someone is seeing your struggles, and at the same time, they're not judging you for it because they've been there, right? And when you're juggling growth, leadership, big goals, it can feel very isolating. You
Yeah.
can feel very isolated and alone. And mentorship allows you to not feel alone. It reminds you that you have someone that you can lean on for advice and clarity, right? Someone to reframe your challenges, validate what you're feeling, or gently pushing you to think bigger and really get your self doubt out of the way. So I would say it feels like a relief, and it also feels like you have support and you're not alone.
So beautifully stated. I couldn't have said it better. I think Juhi encapsulated that feeling of you're not alone, and you're not. On this panel, you have somebody that's along almost every stage of the way, right? From high school on, and so for the audience, you're not alone. There's people like myself and Dr. K who open that door and do it intentionally. So pay attention. Those people are out there. And with that said, as we wrap it up, there are three key takeaways that I wanted to share with all of you. In case you're in a space where you feel stuck, where you don't feel okay professionally, where you feel like you need to breathe and it's felt heavy lately. One, your competitive edge is human. Build that relationship capital. That is the differentiator. Skills get filtered, relationships get remembered. And you want to be remembered, not filtered out. Okay? So do this. Reach out to one professional weekly for insight, not opportunity. It's not a sales call. Reach out for insight. Ask specific, thoughtful questions to Juhi's point. Be intentional about your own path. You're valuable, you're important, you deserve that. Follow up with the applied advice and consistently build visibility because visibility builds opportunity. Okay? And number two, mentorship accelerates growth, so be intentional. Mentorship is not casual. It's a connection. It's structured development. There's no better plan than to have somebody who's championing you on your side. Do this. Identify one clear skill gap that you have. We all have them. It's okay. Request focused 20 to 30-minute conversations. You do not have to spend hours. It just has to be intentional and focused. Implement advice immediately and report back. Follow through. Actually experiment. Try it out. Specificity turns a conversation into mentorship. The more specific you get, the more you're going to get out of it and the more you're going to be able to do with it. And the last, number 3, seek structure and stretch. Get ready. You got to work that muscle out. You need clarity and you also need a challenge. Nothing grows in a comfort zone. Not you, not anything else. So do this. Ask managers or leaders for measurable expectations and feedback. Seek mentors who push your thinking beyond your current role, because your goal is not where you're at. Your goal is where you're headed. And so you need that stretch. Structure builds competence. Stretch actually builds capacity. So be clear on what it is that you're growing and what you're feeding. That's how you break in, move up, and lead forward strategically. So with that said, I'd like to wish you an amazing weekend. Thank you for joining us in this panel discussion, and let us know what you thought and catch us on the next one. Take care, everybody.